So it was under
And
2.5 minutes.
yeah, and I think we're live. Oh my god. Oh, perfect timing for my internet to have a little glitch there. That's perfect. Welcome everybody to the Lakers Outsiders podcast. We're off to a fantastic start. We're starting just as bad as the Lakers did tonight in Denver. I'm your host, Gary Kessler. Joining me today is Kyle Hartwick. Kyle, what's going on, man?
A little shaken right now. Just gotta make sure your internet's stable so we can get through this. Hopefully we're under the 2.5 cutouts for this show.
That was the equivalent of just like airballing a layup. That's pretty much what. I went up for a dunk and just threw it over the rim. Also joining us today is making his Lakers Outsiders podcast debut, Hani, who's like my biggest rival because he lives in Reno and I'm in Boise. Hani, what's going on, man?
Not much, man. Nevada just lost to Wichita State by about 30 points, so it's all good here.
Oh man, it's all good here too. Then. All right, now that we got the pleasantries or unpleasantries out the way, we're going to talk about the game tonight. The Lakers beat the Nuggets for the first time in like 32 years, it feels like. No, I think really it's been like 3 years, but still, the Lakers went into Denver and overcame a 21-point deficit and came back to win 111-107. And we saw another vintage performance from Kobe. I mean, guys, what were some of your takeaways from the game? Hani, we'll start with you.
Yeah, Kobe was a big takeaway, especially just finding matchups that he liked, which is kind of hasn't been very often that he's found good matchups this year. But being able to post up a couple of guys and not only score off of that, but also get a couple of assists, getting other guys involved was my big takeaway.
Definitely. Kyle, what did you notice from watching this game? Was it more of just Kobe hitting shots, getting his legs under him, or was it more of a usage thing, like how they used him?
I think Kobe's finally gotten into a bit of a rhythm since the season began. He said after the game that he finally felt like his legs were underneath him or something like that. I'm paraphrasing. I was impressed with how Kobe played, but I was more so impressed with how Nance came out of the gate today. He had a really good couple of good possessions early on, and I'll be honest, after the Lakers went down 20, I stopped watching, so I didn't get to see the miraculous comeback and Kobe being Kobe. So I can't really attest to how he played.
Yeah. Speaking of Larry Nance, it's nice to. I think Hani will agree with me on this, that it's nice to just have him out of the Mountain West and have him stop dunking on our basketball teams.
Yeah.
But it's good to see him more aggressive tonight. Hani, I'll throw it back to you, going back to Kobe, because you just wrote something and we've shamelessly plugged it, I think, 100 times tonight, but we'll make it 101. Just talk about what you wrote about, and you talked about Kobe and his recently improved play.
Yeah, so I looked through some of the numbers, and there's not a ton that you can take away from the numbers, but there's some stuff like he's taking a decent amount less shots from the three-point line and working more inside. He's taking a couple less shots per game. He's had way fewer shots going against tight defense, which I think is a huge part of this. But a lot of it is also just literally him feeling a little better. He's had a couple of games where he hasn't had to play late, so he's gotten his legs under him from that, getting rest. So I think that has just as much to do with it as just playing a little bit better.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's certainly been the thing with him this year is his shot selection, right, Kyle?
Yeah, it seems like he's been getting better shots. He's not chucking from the three-point line like he started out early in the season. I am a little worried for him just going forward because it seems like he's been playing an insane amount of minutes for his age and his recent health issues. And I'm hoping that the coaching staff and training staff kind of keeps him in check, but maybe that's too big of a wish to make. Maybe I'll ask for that for Christmas or something. But I think he has gotten a lot better shot selection. I saw a shot chart from earlier. He's trying to work inside a lot more, and I think that's going to work for him in the long run. with his age.
Yeah, that's definitely the thing with him is getting. To me, for him to get shots closer to the basket, he's got to establish position closer to the basket, not catch it, 25 feet out, away from the rim.
Yeah.
And I noticed because he was 10 of 22 tonight for 31 points, 5 assists. But of those 22 shots, he shot 9 threes, which is a little too much for him. And he only made 2 of them, so that means he was 8 of 13 from inside the 3-point line. So it's nice to see him still get a lot of a high volume of his shots inside the 3-point line because that's where he's going to be most effective, right, guys?
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing I forgot to mention because I mentioned this in the piece, another shameless plug, but part of the improvement is also, and part of the fact that he's not taking as many threes is that the Lakers' offense has been a teeny bit better in just making sure to run a whole lot of pick and rolls, have guys like D'Angelo Russell and Jordan Clarkson hold the ball a lot more, and doing that lets them get the defense inside before they kick it out to Kobe, and then Kobe's driving against guys that are like off balance trying to close out on him instead of guys that have been basically denying him the ball for 10 seconds before he catches it.
Yeah, definitely. It's all about how guys are used, and especially when it's Kobe with his physical limitations now, or these young players, right, Kyle? Like it's just how it's like personnel that they're on the floor with, and just putting them in the right situations to succeed.
Definitely, and I think it's really unfair for certain people. I'm not going to name names anymore. I'm past the name of naming names. Calling players pathetic when they're the person that is putting the personnel on the floor. Like you kind of have to look at who you're putting out there and being like, is this a pathetic lineup? Is this not going to work well? Oh, I guess it's not. So you have to change things up, and I think it's been better recently. Tonight there was kind of some sketchy moments. I mean, just looking at who the players played with, I didn't necessarily agree with some of it, but they came out with the win, so I can't complain.
Yeah, and to me it really is specific to Randall, because I've mentioned the last couple podcasts that it seems like it's one thing to have him come off the bench, but they have him come off the bench and they put him out there with Sacre, and the defense does not respect him at all. So basically, every time Randall catches the ball, there's 2 defenders waiting for him to drive to the basket. And tonight, that's how it was to start out the game. And then Byron decided to go with Brandon Bass, and all of a sudden, Randall seemed like a totally different player because the defense couldn't put as much pressure on him. He still didn't have a great game shooting-wise and all that, but you could just tell he had more room to work with, and just that spacing. That's key, especially for him because he wants to drive it. And it's it's all on Byron's shoulders, really. I mean, the players have to play, obviously, but you have to put them in the right positions to succeed. So, and speaking of putting in the right positions to succeed, the Lakers are in an awful position to succeed tomorrow because they get the Oklahoma City Thunder, who just beat them by like 90 points the other day.
The most depressing segue of all time.
Oh, man. No, I mean, I had to deal with some of Anthony's segues, which he got better as it went along, but man, his segues were always interesting. Shout out to Anthony, by the way. What are some things that you guys think that the Lakers have to do better tomorrow, specifically to, maybe not win, but at least compete tomorrow?
Start out quicker. Last game it was like right out of the gate where they were just falling apart. I don't know how they do that with the starting lineup that Byron likes to put out there, but it's really just a matter of just being ready for guys like Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook who will destroy you if you're not ready.
Oh, it's a good thing we're not playing them on Christmas, man. They would truly be like, they just kill us. Kyle, what do the Lakers have to do better tomorrow?
Guard the guys that are going to put up the big points. I saw in the little bit of the game that I did watch tonight, it was just a lot of open shots for the Nuggets. I wanted to say the Thunder there. there's a lot of open shots for them, and you can't give KD any room. You can't give Russell Westbrook any room. So you got to really just guard the guys as soon as they touch the ball. And if they work themselves inside and get points, then, I mean, at least you tried. But you can't just give up open looks, and, that's something that I think that, has been happening lately, especially, I mean, I don't blame him, but Kobe hasn't been playing the best of defense lately. Like, it seems like he's not wanting to guard guys on the perimeter. Mm-hmm. So just get to your man and stay on him, really.
Yeah. Speaking of Kobe's defense, we'll throw it back to tonight's game just for a bit. He actually did play, defense probably for the first time in like 4 or 5 years tonight. Will Barton had 23 points off the bench in the first half. I joked during the game that he was going to go off for 81, but after the first quarter, he was almost on pace for it. But no, Kobe switched onto him for the majority of the second half, and Will Barton had 2 points in the second half, and he finished with 25. So it would be nice if we see that from Kobe from here on out, but guarding Russell Westbrook or Kevin Durant's a little different than Will Barton. So
Kobe's defense in the first half was taking me off, though, because he kept leaving Papa Nicolau open for wide open threes, and he's a shooter. Like, that's the only thing that guy knows how to do.
Yeah.
And I was getting really tired of the Nuggets announcers saying, "Come to Papa" after every shot.
Oh, man, you had to listen to, oh, my, that's terrible. Luckily, I didn't have to listen to them. Kyle, I think you tweeted during the game that you were going to switch over to him, and I was just like,
that's
why?
just because, I have a pretty big beef with Stu Lance right now. I listen to him, and I can't agree with a damn thing he's saying. So I don't know. That's kind of my own thing that I'm suffering through.
I have a beef with Billy Mack and how he says Jack in the box.
Oh, yes. I hadn't really noticed that until you said it the first time, and it's taken me off every time.
He just, his plugs are just, the weirdest and creepiest things ever. They're so awkward.
He says it twice on that ad, too. Every time he starts with Jack in the Box, and then ends with it, too.
It was more awkward than the way we started this podcast, to be honest. And that's hard to do, but no. All right, so we'll stop right there before we bash the Lakers announcers too much, because honestly, most team announcers are pretty bad in their own way. So,
true.
For sure.
Yeah, that pretty much covers it. Kobe was awesome. Lakers won. We haven't gotten to say that much this year. That's only the 5th win.
Yeah.
What, 5-23 now? Yeah, 5-23. Yeah. Still sitting comfortably with the second worst record for those of you thinkers out there. And we'll just transition into the questions that we got from our viewers. Well, the first one was from Anthony, which I gave the shout out to, and it's just one word. It's potato, and it's a question. So potato, I guess.
Can I respond to that one?
Yeah, absolutely, take it away.
Potato. That's all I need.
Oh, man.
I was going to say he forgot the mashed before it, potato soup, or I don't know. You can do all kinds of things. But potato? Come on, Anthony. I know you're old, but give me a break, dude.
You're giving way more evidence to the stereotype.
You sound a lot like Bubba from Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump. Shrimp salad. Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, that wasn't the only food question we got, actually. The next one is, and Hani, we'll start with you on this one. Is a hot dog a sandwich?
Oh, man. I've spent long nights wondering about this question. I think I'm going to go. I'm going to go with no, just because apparently sandwiches have to be between 2 pieces of bread, and a hot dog bun is technically 1 piece of bread, unless you split it in half.
Oh, Kyle, just take it away, man.
I think that a hot dog is not a sandwich, and I don't think I need to give any more reasoning behind that.
This is what this podcast has come to. We're breaking down hot dogs right now.
Got more food questions?
I think that's the last one. I'll just say it's not a sandwich because it's better than a sandwich. It's in its own category. So
True.
let's just squash it right there. Hot dogs,
Squash.
Hot dogs are the GOAT. That's all I'm going to say. Especially if you're at like a sporting event, you got to get a hot dog.
That's true. That's
Okay.
true.
You okay there, Gary?
Gary? Yay, Gary froze.
Okay. I talked about hot dogs so much that my internet was like, "That you were done. We're done here." So now we get some actual Lakers and basketball related questions. The next question is, what type of offense should the Lakers be running to maximize the skill set of their players, Kyle?
I have no idea, honestly. God. Something better than what's going on right now, which I don't even know what the thing we're doing is right now. It's give the ball to Kobe and pray a little bit. We need to not run that offensive system. Definitely run more pick and rolls and, put the personnel on the floor to be able to do that, because I think D'Angelo Russell is a lethal player when put in that situation. You just give him, I think he needs a couple more pieces that can really catch the ball. Like, passing it inside to Roy Hibbert is great and all, except he has stone hands. He can't catch.
He's got Jason Pierre-Paul mitts.
Yeah. Oh God.
He's gonna kick it off the floor now. He's gonna travel all the way to Boise just to beat the crap out of me.
Which hand?
Oh man, this has been one of the more ridiculous podcasts in a while.
I'm so sorry.
We're getting back to our roots on this one.
It's all because of Hani right now.
Yeah. Hani, what do you think the Lakers could do offensively to be better?
Actually have an offensive system would be a good start. Also, actually, I'll plug for somebody else. I think it was Drew Garrison of Silver Screen and Roll had a really good piece about what's going on with the Lakers offense and why it sucks so bad. And one of the things that I took away from it is that the Lakers are really good when they cut, and they have over 1 point per possession when they make a cut, but they also run it they have fewer cuts than pretty much every other thing in their offense, which is funny because they supposedly run the Princeton, and that's the big part in the Princeton. But
I was just gonna say they run the so-called Princeton offense, and that's the first principle of that offense is to cut all the time.
Yep.
And they hardly ever do it. But yeah, I actually didn't see that piece, but it makes a lot of sense. It's something I've noticed a lot is when they run backdoor cuts and stuff. It's usually there. There's just times where they miss guys. I remember there was one possession. Sacre had the ball, of course. Lou Williams cut backdoor, was wide open, just didn't throw him the ball. So, but no, I'll kind of expand on it a little bit. I'll say they need to run a Mike D'Antoni style offense. This is a team that's built to run and push the tempo, and just run a lot of pick and rolls and space the floor. The lineup I honestly love to see out there is. It's weird because it doesn't have Kobe out there, but I like it when Russell, Clarkson, Nick Young, Julius Randle, and then whoever at center, whether it's Bass or Hibbert. I like when those guys are out there because I think Clarkson, Russell, and Nick Young can space the floor really well. And then you've got Julius Randle kind of hanging around that 15-foot area, ready to attack if he gets the ball. And I like that lineup. I just don't think we see it enough. But if we still had D'Antoni, this team would actually be a lot of fun to watch. But
yeah, just because you said D'Antoni, one thing that would be really cool is because I think D'Antoni did this a little bit when he had Powell and Dwight, would have Randall as the pick and roll ball handler, and have anybody screen for him, like Hibbert or one of the guards, and I think that would be kind of a fun wrinkle to try out and see what he does, actually having space before he gets to the rim.
Yeah, that's definitely something to utilize. I remember Mike Brown actually kind of did that at times with
Powell and Bynum. Yeah.
Powell and Bynum. I remember because I went and saw the Lakers play the Blazers. It was the first time I had seen a game at Staples Center. I think back in 2012. It was 2012. And the first play they ran, Powell caught the ball at the mid post, and they ran a pick and roll between him and Bynum, and he threw a lob to Bynum for a dunk. It's that's something that it's really hard for big men to defend. Like
Yeah.
a big man that can handle the ball in a pick and roll scenario, and utilizing Randall with that, I think, would be something that would be interesting to try, and at least see how he does. But so this next question, I got to give a shout out. It's from Dylan Heiser. Dylan designed our new podcast logo with the Lakers Outsiders and the headphones to go on it. It was pretty much exactly the vision I had when I came to him for the idea. So shout out to Dylan. Thanks a lot for that. Really appreciate it. But his question is, and this is going to be a tough one, what is the one Byron moment that made you cringe the most?
Kyle, you want to start? Because I got to think.
Yeah, give me just a second.
I'll go ahead and start this one.
Okay.
Just so you guys can both think. The one that made me cringe the most, well, I don't want to say it made me cringe. It made me throw my remote, but it was when he benched D'Angelo Russell and Julius Randle. He took him out of the starting lineup. That was extremely frustrating.
Okay, I'll go. I got a couple. So,
Just a couple.
I mean, there's more, but I got a couple. So I went to the game in Sacramento at the beginning of the year, and I lived like 2 hours away, right? And I drove all the way back after the game, and it was like midnight by the time I got home, and I sat and wrote like for 3 hours about how much I hate Byron. So there's that one. And then I don't remember when it was, but there was another one where he was just calling people soft and whatnot, and that made me make a bingo chart of all the crap that he says all the time. So that's another one.
We just need to have a podcast where we just talk about like angry Byron Scott stories. Like, I feel like we could just fill up 2 hours with.
For sure.
We need the Alcoholics Anonymous version of it.
Oh, Kyle, do you have a different story?
It's appropriate he brought up alcohol, because during that same Kings game, I was a few in, and I made a petition to get him fired, and I started sharing it with everyone, and it now has like 1,200 signatures compared to my under 300 followers on Twitter. So that got a bit viral. That was a bad moment in my life. I think the most cringeworthy moment that didn't involve alcohol was him calling the players pathetic, and that really just it connected with me, and I got really upset, and it took a lot of restraint to not just tweet or write an article about it, because I was going to go off, but I held back, and now I don't name names anymore, so that's good.
Shout out to the foxhole though. That's a really good one.
Oh man, classic. That's peak Byron. That's peak Byron. All right, so our next question is, we've answered this probably a bunch on the podcast, so we'll just try and make this one quick. It's just basically, can Clarkson and Russell play together? Kyle, I'll let you go ahead and start this one off.
Yeah, I don't see why they can't. I mean, Clarkson's an offensive tool that Russell can pass out to. I think Russell definitely needs to be running the offense when he's on the floor, though, and then maybe stagger their minutes a bit more than you would normally. But yeah, they can play together. There's no problem with that. I don't see a problem with them playing together.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, the one thing that really should make it okay is the fact that Clarkson is an above-average three-point shooter now. Mm-hmm. I don't know what his numbers are right now, but they were above 40% for a while. So I think it's probably dropped off a little bit because he's had a little bit of a slump recently. But that's important, and then also the fact that if you're building a team, it's really important to have a bunch of guys that can handle the ball, so that when one of them drives in and passes it out and the defense closes out on that guy, he has something to do other than hold the ball until the other guys.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think they can definitely play together. But the thing is, they need to be on the court together, and I think they need to be starting together, because that's the thing with Russell coming off the bench now. It seems like his rotation's staggered with Clarkson's a lot more, so they're not getting those in-game reps as much, as they were before. And it's like, those are two of the three major pieces of your future. You know, you need all three of those guys to play on the court together and get accustomed to one another and just build that chemistry. And it's kind of hard to do that when they're on the court at different times. But next question is, can those three, Randall, Clarkson, and Russell, be good defenders? Hani, we'll start this one with you.
So D'Angelo, I think, has been way better than I expected, especially on ball defense. Off ball, he gets lost every now and then he also sometimes got lost going around screens. But overall, he's been pretty good, and just the fact that he's got a massively long wingspan that nobody really talks about, and that should always help him. Yeah. Clarkson hasn't been very good at all defensively this season, but just athletically he's really good and he moves really well, so I think he's got room to improve there. Yeah. And then Randall, I think it's going to depend on like matchups and whatnot. There were people telling me over the summer that the Lakers should play him as a small forward, and Kevin Durant, if you weren't convinced Kevin Durant with his crossover convinced you last game. But against most power forwards he should be able to hold his own.
I was going to say, Randall was on the wrong end of the SportsCenter's top play of the day that night. So, yeah, I didn't think it was that good to where it was like the number one play, but
yeah,
it was a pretty sick move. But no, I'll agree. Clarkson has the longest way to go defensively, which is crazy because he's, you know, a really good athlete and he's 23 years old. You know, he's the oldest of them. But I think with him, it's about coaching. Like it's kind of a discipline thing. He gets lost off the ball sometimes and just is out of position. And you know, I just think it's coaching. Like if he had like a Tom Thibodeau or something, I think he could actually be a really solid defender. But I think all three could be at least solid team defenders. I don't know if any of them will ever be like lockdown guys. I think Russell has the best chance, just because of like the physical tools that he has. But you know, I think they can all three become capable defenders and part of a good defensive team. Kyle, would you agree?
For sure, yeah. I think like I agree with Hani a bit, with Russell being the most likely to succeed defensively out of the group. I also think that our other two young guys, in Anthony Brown and Larry Nance Jr., both are going to be key to our future defensively. We haven't seen too much of either of them. Well, we haven't seen too much of Anthony Brown, but what I've seen from both of those guys so far, it's gonna be a great future. At least with those two defensively. Russell showing promise. Clarkson, he could be better. He definitely has the athletic tools to do it. And Randall, yeah, like Connie said, he just needs to match up and not be guarding Kevin Durant and getting crossed over.
Yeah, just don't guard Kevin Durant, whatever you do.
Yeah.
I think another really positive thing for them is that a bunch of them can guard multiple positions. So like the Warriors last year were really good because they could switch almost every single pick and roll. If the Lakers are like a homeless man's version of that, and they got guys that can switch almost everything. Like Randall can guard pretty much 5 positions if he's actually guarding well. Like just in terms of his athletic ability and being able to move, he should be able to guard most guys. Clarkson can probably guard 1 through 3. Russell can probably guard 1 through 3 as well. So I think that's a big positive for them.
Yeah, and that's big because ever since I started watching the Lakers back when I was 5, 6 years old in like '97. They've switched like every pick and roll in the history of their franchise. So that's kind of been a philosophy of theirs for a while. So that's a good point. All right, we got a couple more questions. We'll get to these real quick. This will be a real quick one. If the Lakers have the number 2 pick, who should they take? And we'll assume that Ben Simmons is off the board at number 1. What would you guys do with the number 2 pick?
Kyle, you go.
I'm still pretty high on Scala Bicier for just his fit with our team. Also, I'm still pretty high on Jaylen Brown. I'm hearing a lot of people saying Ingram would be a good one, but if push comes to shove and none of those guys really step out and be a clear number 2, I would be okay with trading the pick, getting something good. We have 5 pretty reliable young guys on our team right now. I don't know if a 6th is necessary for the future.
Yeah. Honey, do you know who you would take?
I've literally watched no college basketball outside of Nevada, and there's nobody on that team that needs to be drafted #2 overall. So I'm gonna say either they should draft me and get me paid, or another shameless plug, or I'm also okay with trading the pick depending on what you can get back.
Yeah, definitely. That's one option, and I'll go ahead and do my own shameless plug. It's actually my pinned tweet on my Twitter profile, but I wrote just about the Lakers' options and what they can do with that #2 pick, or just if they keep their top 3 pick, and it includes trading it. So yeah, one thing to consider. Personally, I've kind of soured on Scal Labissiere recently. He's kind of fallen off the face of the earth the last 4 or 5 games, it seems like. But I mean, I'd be fine with taking Brandon Ingram. You know, he's super long, 6'9", small forward that can shoot the ball. And that just has a ton of potential. Although it pains me to
Oh. It pained him a lot.
Pained him so much that his internet cut. That's 2. We need to get to the over here.
Oh yeah, those of you betting on the 2.5 line.
That's what I get. See, that's what I get. See, even my internet is like, he's talking about a Duke player. Like, just cut it out. I knew that was going to cause problems. All right. This was actually an interesting question. So the question was, is Larry Nance Jr. starting in order to pad his stats and increase his trade value, or is it just to get him more minutes?
I don't think if they wanted to get somebody's trade value up, I think they'd be starting Bass and Lou Williams and Nick Young and Roy Hibbert with Kobe.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say no to that.
Yeah, I also don't think that the Lakers will trade Nance anytime soon. At least I hope. I think, like you said, they need to at least look at people looking for Lou Williams or Brandon Bass type players if they're contenders. But I don't know what's available for those guys out there. So
I don't think it's to boost his trade value. I think Nance is part of the plan moving forward, and they're just getting him more minutes. So,
I mean, even if he wasn't, I don't think you're getting much back from any team. So I don't think it's even worth trying to trade him.
Yeah, because I mean, he was like among other teams. He's a
first rounder this year. So yeah. Sorry, Gary.
Oh no, you're fine. You're fine. No, he's still like really unknown to like other teams across the league. So, okay, one free agency question: should the Lakers max Hassan Whiteside this summer? And I believe it would be a 25% max with the cap increasing. I've talked to Eric Pincus about this, and he mentioned that it was the lower tier max. Would you guys be willing to do that?
This is a tough one for me because I mean, he's a really good player, and he's just the athletic ability and the fact that he's just risen so high in 2 years is really enticing. But I'm also just watching some of the games. I'm not like super impressed with him. I've seen moments where his defense isn't very good at all, and he just basically, the fact that he's got like 10-foot arms, gets him blocks. So it's tough for me. I think I would do it, just because it fits a really big need. But I'm not entirely sure either.
Kyle, would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think it really all depends on what we do on draft night as well. We have to take a good, long, hard look at all the prospects out there, and then just kind of think, well, if we trade the pick, then we're obviously going to go after someone in free agency. And it really depends on what the other agents are, saying, like who we make our pitches to. If it just comes down to Hassan Whiteside, I'd probably offer him the max. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna avoid the question and just say I'll get back to you on that. No, Whiteside's shot blocking ability is very tantalizing and would be a really good fit with this team. I worry about his offensive production and his attitude. It seems like his emotions are just kind of all over the place. So, all right, we'll end this on.
He's got to get his 2K rating up before we sign him.
Contract year, got to get that 2K rating up and get that paycheck. Yeah, it was funny. Even Clarkson said that on media day. He was like, I'm just working hard to get my 2K rating up.
It's the new big thing.
Oh man. Hey, whatever works, man.
I'm really glad he didn't say I got to get my NBA Live
I was just
rating
gonna
up.
say that. Yeah.
Oh man. All right. So this is the last question. Could Luke Walton, if he was coaching this team, coaching the Lakers, make this a playoff team right now, this year?
No.
I don't think Phil Jackson can make this a playoff team.
No. I think with one of those guys, with a really good coach, they'd be much closer. I'd say like 10th seed-ish.
Yeah.
I could see them being better than like the Blazers and those guys that are kind of in that range, and the Wolves. So but not the playoffs. That's too much.
Yeah.
I think Luke Walton as a player could bring us to an 8 seed, make the playoffs.
Facilitator Luke, because he doesn't have any other settings.
Yeah.
Oh, shout out to Luke Walton. Hopefully our coach next year.
We're gonna get so much hate for these comments. Everybody's gonna think we're gonna be the reason he doesn't get signed. He doesn't sign with the Lakers.
Like that stupid Gary kid said, I only have one setting as a player. All right, that was a lot of questions, but we made it through all of them, especially Anthony's potato question. Yeah, so that's going to do it for us. Thanks to everybody that was watching as we were just making a fool of ourselves for about a half an hour. Thanks for everybody that's sending questions. That's probably the most questions we've gotten whenever we ask for one after a game. So, Kyle, Hani, yeah, thanks for joining, Hani. I'll say you did a solid job in your debut. You're still on the bench, but that's only because you're a rookie. So
I've gotten used to that over the last couple months.
You guys both just have to man up and quit being soft. So
hey, now I've started like 4 of the last 6 podcasts. So
you're basically Larry Nance Jr.
Okay, fair enough.
Like, you're still kind of soft.
Am I Julius Randle? Because that's going to make me really sad.
Yeah, that's still undecided. You're either Randle or Russell, so it's one of the two. I don't know if we'd spend a number 2 pick on you, though, man. Not going to lie. Oh, man. We got to sign off before I start a fight with somebody. All right, thanks again for everybody that followed along. We'll try and podcast tomorrow after the Thunder game. We might be crying or drinking or both. So be sure to tune in, and we'll see you guys next time.